Morning everyone. Today I have taken chapter 3 of business studies class 12 and the chapter is business environment, and today I have taken only one topic, that is the meaning and features of business environment. So let's proceed towards the chapter. First of all, we'll understood the meaning of business environment. So business environment is composed of two words basically. One is business and the other is environment. In its simplest terms, we can say the state in which a person remains busy is known as business. We usually say that it's none of your business, it's my own business. It means we are busy in that activity. But in its economic sense, it means the human activities like production, like purchase of goods and services, sale of goods and services, these are preferred for earning profits. So in its economic sense, we can say that business means all the activities which performed for earning profits. On the other hand, the word environment means the aspects of surroundings. What are we are having in our surroundings, in the business surroundings, which are not controllable, which we cannot control, but it automatically affects the functioning of the organization. So in a nutshell, we can say that business environment refers to the factors, refers to the forces, refers to the individuals and institutions which are all outside the control of business environment but business enterprise, but these may affect its performance. So in simplest words, we can say that business environment is the surrounding in which business exists. So let us proceed towards the features of business environment. So there are 7 features of business environment. First is the external factors totality, then specific and general forces, then dynamic nature, then interrelatedness, uncertainty, complexity and relativity. All these features I have explained in my earlier slides. So let's move towards the features of business environment. So here is the first feature of business environment, and that is totality of external forces. Business environment is the sum total of all the external activities, all the external forces which are outside the business firms. For example, all the government policies, all the economic policies, our investors, our suppliers, the change in the taste of consumers, all these. So business is concerned with these forces. No doubt they are not a part of our business, they are not inside our business, but with having their existence outside the business, they play a very important role to earn the profit for the company. So we have to consider all these forces also. Second is specific and general forces. Specific forces are those forces which directly affect the operational activities of the business enterprise. For example, the suppliers, the customers, the investors, the competitors, all the financiers, they have to be considered they have to be considered while we are planning any activity in the organization. So because ultimately the suppliers have to purchase from the company, the customers ultimately they have to purchase from the retailers, and investors are the person those who invest in our company. So automatically they have to be considered while drafting any activity in the business. So they played a very important role for the companies to earn profits, because if there will be no financiers, though no competitors, if we will not consider all these forces into our mind, then we cannot earn profits as per required or as per planned. And general forces or those which indirectly affect the functioning, which indirectly affects our business functions, like whatever the government policies are, whatever the economic policies, what are the social conditions, and what are the technological conditions available in the market. So we have to consider all these two forces. Next is the dynamic nature. Business environment is dynamic in nature as it keeps on changing. It keeps on changing, whether it is technological changes, whether it is customer preference, or whether a new competition in the market. So it keeps on changing, it cannot be fixed. It is highly flexible. Business environment is very flexible and it keeps on changing, it is not rigid. That is why it is essential to monitor and scan the business environment continuously, otherwise we will be in the loss. So next is the interrelationship. The interrelationship between business and the other functions. Interrelationship refers to how two or more things are connected with each other. For example, what will the impact on each of these if a new product is called? Operations में क्या इफेक्ट होगा, employee relations में क्या इफेक्ट होगा, what happens in marketing and what happens in accounting and finance. So what happens when all the forces and all the factors of environment are interrelated to each other? Let's have a idea from this slide. Like the human resource department of a handbag. Suppose a company is making handbag and it recruits, वो दो sales representatives को employ करती है, recruit करती है for its stores and for workers. एक स्टोर के लिए और एक वर्कर के लिए कंपनी जो है सेल्स पर्सन रिक्रूट करती है. नाउ वर्कर्स इन द फैक्ट्री दे प्रोड्यूस हैंडबैग्स दैट आर सोल्ड इन स्टोर्स. सो वर्कर्स के लिए उसका क्या इम्पैक्ट होगा कि वर्कर्स हैंडबैग्स बनाएंगे और स्टोर्स में बेचे जाएंगे. एंड सेल्स रिप्रेजेंटेटिव सेल द हैंडबैग्स इन द स्टोर्स, और वो सेल्स रिप्रेजेंटेटिव होगा, वो हैंडबैग्स को बेचेगा स्टोर टू स्टोर. सो दीज आर द इंटर रिलेशनशिप फ्रॉम वन डिपार्टमेंट टू अनदर. Next important feature is uncertainty. We all know that it's very difficult to predict the changes. It's very difficult to, whatever the changes are taking place, it's very difficult to predict them. For example, IT company है, fashion industry, it's frequent changes have been taking place, so it's very difficult for the company to predict the effect of the changes. So every business has to be ready with that. Next is complexity. Complexity means it's very complex, it is not very easy to understood. For example, it is very difficult for the business to understand the market and the consumer behavior. We cannot change the consumer behavior, or we cannot predict the consumer behavior, so it's very difficult to work accordingly. For example, the change in government policy to increase the tax rate by 5% may affect the income of the company by a very big amount. So it's very difficult, it's not very easy to understand the impact of business environment on the companies. Although it's very easy to scan the environment, but it's very difficult to know how these changes will influence all the big decisions taken by the companies. Sometimes the change may be a minor change, but sometimes a very big change. So it's very difficult for the business enterprises to understand the impact of such changes. And last is relativity. Relativity means a business differs from country to country, even it differs from region to region. For example, in Europe, people prefer to buy warm clothes due to cold climate. However, in India, people buy both warm clothes as well as cotton clothes due to its tropical climate. So business environment differs from one country to another, or we can say from one region to another region, from one culture to another culture, because there may be more demand for the products according to their region. For example, there may be more demand for saris in India as compared to US. So same condition in the environment may have different effect on different enterprises. For example, when customer organizations found pesticides in cold drink, it came as constraint for cold drink industry, but it was an opportunity for juice industry. So it's a relative concept. Business environment is concerned with relativity also. So these are all the features of business environment. I hope you have understood the meaning and features of business environment. Thank you.